Biblical accounts of creation. Second account of creation.
Now I am more than eager to listen to the second account of creation.
Why so?
Because at the end of the day, I would like to compare it to the first account of creation. Shall we?
Sure. The second account of creation is recorded in Genesis chapter 2 from verses 4b to 25. It begins with the creation of human beings.
Wow. Human beings are now being created first rather than last?
Yes, it is assumed that the earth and the heavens were already created. There was no plant or herb on earth because God had not caused it to rain, and so man could not till the earth. However, there is a mist that goes up from the earth, and this is what waters the ground.
Very interesting.
Man is created out of the dust of the earth, and God breathes life into his nostrils.
I have noticed something. You are talking about man instead of human beings.
That is because I literally mean a man, as in a male adult. He is then placed in a beautiful garden where he is supposed to live.
The Garden of Eden.
Yes, he is to draw his livelihood from here. God desires that man should lack nothing.
And in return, man needs to take good care of the garden, right?
Correct. God then causes all good plants and trees to grow out of the ground. They are pleasant to sight and good for food. And there is a tree of life in the middle of the garden. It is the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Man's trust is being put to the test.
Right. Man is commanded not to eat from the tree in the middle of the garden, and doing so would cost him dearly. The garden is watered by a river that divides into 4 rivers.
I know 2 of them, the Tigris and Euphrates. I learned about them in history.
Good. The other 2 are Pishon and Gihon. God sees that man is alone and decides to create animals of the land and birds of the air and brings them to man to name them.
And the animals and birds were called by any name that man gave.
Yes, whatever name man gave was final. This signifies the control that God gives to human beings over all other creatures.
Is man satisfied by the company of the animals?
No, he's not. God causes the man to go into a deep sleep. And while he's sleeping, God removes one of his ribs and closes up the place with flesh.
Wow.
This rib is used to create a woman who God then brings to man.
And now man is happy. Now we have human beings.
Yes. The man says that. This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. By doing so, God initiates the institution of marriage in his plan for human beings.
So now man and woman complement each other.
Yes, both are naked, but they are not embarrassed.
Wow, that is quite a story.
And now the ball is in your court. I want you to tell me all the things you noticed were similar between the 2 accounts of creation.
Well, in both cases, we see God doing the good work of creation. In his creation, there are both the living and non-living objects. God created human beings in a special way, and they are given responsibilities and privileges. In both cases too, human beings share in the life of God.
Great. Any differences that you noticed?
Quite a lot, actually.
Okay, go on.
In the first account of creation, creation is out of nothing. God just says, "Let there be this," and it appears. In the second account, however, I realized that God is a potter, creating man out of dust. The water in the garden makes the plants grow, and woman is created from man's ribs.
That's a good one. Next.
In the first account of creation, human beings are created last, while in the second account of creation, they come first.
What else can you say about human beings?
I can say that in the first account of creation, they are created the same time, that is on the 6th day, and in God's image. While in the second account, man is created first, then a woman is created out of man's rib.
Correct.
Everything that God creates in the first account, he sees as good. But this is not mentioned in the second account of creation.
And that is not the only thing that appears in one account and is missing in the other. For example, the second account has a forbidden tree at the center of the garden, but the first account does not mention it.
Another one is that the first account of creation records that creation is completed in 6 days and God rests on the seventh one. But in the second account of creation, there are no days mentioned, and God does not rest either.
You really listened keenly to the two stories after all.
Of course, that is why I am here. Again, in the first account, God tells human beings to multiply and fill the earth. But in the second account, man and woman are to keep each other company.
In other words, marriage is for procreation in the first account, but it is for partnership in the second account.
That is quite simpler. Thank you. Lastly, from me, there is a beautiful garden in the second account that is watered by 4 rivers, which is not mentioned in the first account of creation.
Wow. And I can finish as off by saying that in the first account of creation, we have the sky, also known as firmament, light, sun, moon, stars, and creeping things being created, but they are omitted in the second account.
All in all, I love the fact that either way, all things were created by God. What story are you telling me next?
We're going to analyze the creation accounts shortly. For now, you can stretch your legs.
Good.